Oh man, I'm taking it back. We're back in the waterworks because I realized I forgot to cover Endo Guru. A little bit of my fault. I didn't really know what an Endo was. I thought it was a stunt. It was something you could do after the FMX update. And apparently you didn't even need to wait for that. Because I was in the FMX stunt practice room for a long time trying to pull something off that I would think could be like an Endo. And I tried all the moves, all the flick sticks, and nothing came up. Apparently, an Endo is when you do a wheelie on your front tire. I didn't know it was called that. So, to cover this challenge, you have to hold Endo for 30 meters in the waterworks. It's pretty simple. All you gotta do is make to this jump here. You know, this is part of the ramp. And just go forward, hit the brakes, get on that front tire, and glide it down to the bottom. After you hit the bottom, you should get the Endo Guru challenge completed. So let's blast back forward to the present. We're back on Shivering Isles. We have 3 challenges to shoot through. We gotta go through Making Waves, Fragile Be Careful, and Path to Enlightenment. Making Waves is the first one we're gonna do. This one, you gotta hit the highest peak, cannonball off of it into water. Highest peak is right here. Hit the cannonball off, hold tap Y, you'll dismount, and after you dismount, hold the left trigger, and that'll make you crouch into a ball, and boom, cannonball into the water. The trick is to do it on the peak and not after you launch yourself into the air. I found the easiest way to do this is you can kind of stop on the peak, pointing yourself forward, do an Endo on the top of the hill, and just shoot yourself forward that way. But as soon as you get off, you can even hold, if you do an Endo, it makes it really easy because you Endo, flip the butt up, and press Y, and then just stay in the cannonball mode, holding the brake button, and boom, you're Endoing into the water, cannonball, and whatever you're gonna call it. I did it by just kind of falling forward, hold left trigger, cannonball. We got this. So, you cannonball just fine. You think it's time to get some enlightenment. It took me a while to find this at first, and then I realized when I do this opening, there's a little sound that's made when you tap that pillar. So, I tapped it and rolled back, and look at this! There's a whole nother level! Now, this isn't necessarily super hard. It's got a couple of the, really steep jumps and ramps. The main problem is that if you crash, and on your first couple attempts you probably will, unless you're Trials Pro, which some of you might be, I will give you that, but on your first couple attempts you might crash, and the main annoying thing is there's no checkpoint. So when you get up there, what you have to do is not crash. So it gets a little annoying, because since there's no checkpoint, you get into this funk after a while where you just start making a bunch of mistakes. You start even making mistakes on the launch, you start making mistakes hitting the pillar, you start making mistakes on the first jump and not be able to land it correctly. And like I said, it's not super hard, but it's not easy. There's a lot of places where you can make simple mistakes. You don't get enough speed on that first jump, you won't make the second one. When you hit that pillar, if you have a bounce in your tire, you'll fall down the pillar hole. I'm not gonna lie, this took me a long time to do, so if you mess up and it takes you a while, don't get discouraged. So here's my clean run of it when I totally got the challenge. Get a little saucy with my pole dismount, because after doing 800 of them, I was pretty good knocking on that pole and doing some flips. I found if you do a backflip or two, you'll get further back on that, get more speed, so these first couple jumps are much easier because you just carry that momentum through these little tiny hops. If you have to, you can stop, just do a little back forward action after those jumps. Make sure you get over it. These are relatively easy. You have to do a couple half speed moves here, control your throttle. It's not a big deal. And then this part, you gotta be careful of that bump, because sometimes you bump too hard, your back tire will just mess you up. After that, it's somewhat smooth sailing. A ramp, 2 fang pillars, no big deal. Here's another one. You just land it, and what? Now look at me. Look at my rider when I land inside the bike. I should have crashed there, but I didn't, so I got lucky, and that's another challenge complete. The final challenge is Fragile Be Careful. Now, this is technically the middle challenge, but I saved it for last because I found it harder than Path to Enlightenment. All you have to do in this is jump over that pillar, not knock off the golden ball. The main problem with this is that once you knock it off, even if you hit B to go back to your last checkpoint, it's still gone. So it's really hard to get into a rhythm of finding a way to get rid of it, or even a way to get over it without knocking off that ball. And then after doing some practice jumps, and you think you got it, I found that when I reset the track, I lost that rhythm getting back to it. So I found this insanely difficult. I found this so hard that I didn't actually do it, and I tried really hard. I did this like non-stop for a day. Wonder why it hasn't been a trials video for a couple of days? I've been working on this jump. It's so much of a pain in the ass to try to get to do. I looked up a video of some guy doing it, and he sailed off that giant ramp after the peak. He just landed, did a bounce, and he just cleared the entire pole. I tried to do that as well. It did not work. I think that guy is a genie. He has to have some type of wizard powers. If you can do Fragile Be Careful, let me know, because I'm apparently just terrible at dodging golden balls.